Welcome to Combat Clash, where we watch the top 50 players in the world test their mettle against each other on the ranked arena and compete for that coveted top spot on the ladder. Today's match takes us to Relic River, a map highlighted by a whole lot of elevation and some competing coveted resources, both in the south part of the map with some fish and gold and stone and lots of it, getting more abundant the higher you go up this massive hill. Our players competing today are on the teal side, Mash1ro playing the Ayyubids, and on the purple side, Corvinus1 on the Tughlaq Dynasty. I am definitely looking forward to see what these players decide to do. This is a hybrid map, although it's I would say fairly limited on the hybrid aspect of it here. You're not going to see, too many ships. They will pretty much all be on the bottom, if at all. And though we may see some competition for all the shoreline fish down on the south side of the map, it is definitely beneficial to take advantage of, as shoreline fish are some of the highest grossing food resources in the game. And Tughlaq, one of the civs really known for having being on the stronger side on maps such as these, where they can make use of the water and make use of that additional, just the farming from the fish. So nothing too out of the ordinary at the moment. Neither of these civs are really expected to be too aggressive in the early game. So just a little bit of scouting, and we have our House of Wisdom going down for the Ayyubids. So this is Ayyubids and their parent civ, the Ayyubids. They are both factions that do not actually build multiple landmarks. They simply build this House of Wisdom, and then they research their age up, as opposed to most of the rest of the cast. And Dome of Faith coming down for the Tughlaq. So he is going to be looking, potentially, we're going to be seeing some feudal age healer elephants. Generally speaking, Tower of Victory is not the best of landmarks overall anyway. I believe it was buffed to provide about 20% attack speed on elephants, which is certainly not bad, but it, in comparison to having feudal age monks, feudal age healer elephants, which are, as I think everyone has found out at this point, have been a problem. Even despite the nerf, they're still very strong units. So nothing to sneeze at there. And we have the culture wing logistics coming out for the Ayyubids. This is going to give them 2 dervishes. So we're going to see a bit of potentially each civ's unique version on monks coming in. The dervishes are honestly really fantastic units for the Ayyubid, and kind of a core part of their general meta strats. This also provides them with a healing aura, right? So they just permanently, it makes their healing aura permanent, I should say. And it allows them to really just continuously provide value in any sort of engagements, any sort of skirmishes. And the fact that they are on camels, they are going to be much faster, right? Similar to something like the Rus warrior monks. So they're going to be able to get around the map a lot. And on a map like this, where every single relic is dropped right in the center of the map on this just center line across the river, there's going to be a lot of contention for these. And I wouldn't be surprised to maybe see 2 quick pushes to Castle Age to try to get a handle on both of these, as really both civs, both the Tughlaq and Ayyubids, are really kind of positioned to be able to take advantage of an earlier castle and take those relics immediately upon hitting castle, unlike a lot of other civs that may have to actually wait until they build castle and then build up a monastery and then train the monk, right? We will very likely in this game have both feudal age monks on either side. And we do have an outpost coming down actually for the gold mine. Looks like Ayyubids are a little bit concerned about potential early game aggression. That being said, looks like even after kind of getting a little bit of a view on exactly what's happening in the Tughlaq space, which really is not a whole lot, does look like we are looking at a fast castle from the Tughlaqs. He's got a lot of villagers, almost all of them, split between the deer and the gold. So just now starting to collect a little more wood, but he is definitely just focused on getting out of castle as fast as he can. And we do have an imam actually. Decides another one coming up in queue. Decides to ignore the healer elephant in favor of just getting these monks out as quickly as possible. And we do have a barracks out and already one spearman. So he is going to have, Tughlaq is going to have to be a little bit careful here. If these spearmen decide to move out on the map, if they spot out or if he sniffs out this potential push to castle, this potential sort of just trying to sneak in and grab these relics before the game really gets started in terms of combat. The spearmen are here, so they could just come up here and, potentially fully block that off. He doesn't look like he wants to bring those imams too far out quite yet. We do have a scout, though, that's starting to it's on his way. And actually, he is moving almost, he was moving almost directly to where, yep. So these imams are going to get spotted out. I would expect to see these two spearmen, and they're already moving, getting ready, just going to try to do what they can to keep these imam off the relics. So we are going to have to see, and it's going to be a little while before he gets any sort of military production, but Tughlaq is going to need some sort of military to actually help protect these imams. Maybe even a healer elephant. But no, instead another imam coming out. Spearmen actually just going straight across, trying to push him off these deer packs rather than hunt down these imams. Maybe he just missed them, but he does find this third imam going to the south side of the map. That being said, House Learning is about a third of the way done. We already have two relics pretty much locked in for the Tughlaq. Ayyubids not in a position to handle them. A dervish just kind of chilling out down here on the bottom side of the map, maybe waiting to try to grab this southernmost relic when he hits castle, which we do have coming out now. About 2 minutes away, military ring taking that reinforcement. This gives Ayyubids have, much like the Abbasid, their infantry units are able to build siege weapons. However, this particular AGEP reinforcement on the military wing actually allows their cavalry units to also build siege weapons on top of a free 3 desert raiders, and from the start of castle to the end of the game every 2 minutes. Desert raiders, as I think many players are well aware, are some great little raiding units. They can swap between ranged or melee. They can basically toggle. And we do already have a third relic being picked up by Tughlaq. Still only halfway. We still got a full minute before this dervish, dervish down the southernmost. It looks like he is going to be able to at least pick this one up. I don't think there's going to be an imam. Oh, well, okay. We got an imam with 4 health. Unfortunately, the dervish does not have the ability to attack. So he is actually going to pick up this right from under his nose. And I don't see any way for... Okay, so one imam is going to go down here just to scout, along with some spearmen, are able to at least protect one of these relics. But still, we're looking at a total of, should be 4. Yep, third relic. Northernmost relic coming down, and southernmost relic. I would expect at this point, unless he's just fully focused on microing these guys out here, trying to kill these extra imams. Maybe Tughlaq is actually trying to lure these guys away. But yep, this imam has definitely been spotted out. With only 4 health, he's surely going to go down before he makes it to his base. So it's all going to be up to these men-at-arms, which will be able to at least fight off the spearmen, but I do not think at this point they'll be able to protect this imam. That being said, there is a healer elephant and 2 more imams still alive. So I would still very much expect this relic to go to the side of the Tughlaqs. Men-at-arms are here. Looks like just 1 at the moment. We've got a second one. And is he going to catch them with the willow? Nope, he does not. Gets spotted out before it's too late. This imam's definitely going down. No worries there. And I think at this point, this dervish is going to be able to snag this before... Yep. And with that extra move speed, there's just no hope with this army of catching this dervish. So we do see 2 relics actually go to the side of Ayyubids. All things considered, not at all the worst outcome. We do still end up with 3 in favor of the Tughlaq. archery range going down as well. So looking to really start, putting a fight back now that he's managed to secure that relic advantage. But that being said, we do have multiple Desert Raiders just outside of the Tughlaq space. The Men-at-Arms going to be going down here shortly. Spearmen coming out to try to deal with these Desert Raiders. And really, this is just a bit of a kind of skirmish that's a little all over the place. And he's got his dervish with the relic out here. I think just to provide the healing, not thinking it's worth it to lose that healing while he's putting so much pressure on Tughlaq's economy. And another archery range going down. Crosswoman coming out, looking to maybe deal with. I don't think, the Desert Raiders are not considered heavy units. Maybe he's just concerned about potentially Desert Lancers, which it does look like he, in fact, has a right to be concerned about. We have one Lancer on the field. And with two stables, another third one coming down, we're very likely going to see a bit of a shift into more Lancers, backing up these Desert Raiders, who are picking off these workers on the stone. Only manages to secure 1 kill, though, on the villagers. And with all this stone, we should be expecting to see our first Tughlaq fort coming down. We'll see exactly where he decides to put it. I would think potentially either by the stone, maybe by his gold, if he's afraid of the back of his base being just surrounded by these camel riders. And barracks is on fire, about to go down. So some of this military production maybe just put a little bit too far forward for the Tughlaq, excuse me. And we'll see exactly what he wants to do, see how he can turn this one around. But the Desert Raiders are circling around the back of his base, and he actually Tughlaq decides to drop this Tughlaq fort all the way, really exposed. But thankfully, Tughlaq fort, I believe, has 8 garrison slots. We'll see here shortly, but or maybe it's just 10. Either way, he's protecting these berries, protecting this gold mine, and he's definitely going to work on, very likely upgrading that. I would expect maybe sometime soon, not quite yet, as he's fully out of it. But we do have the governor of Bakhar. This is a pretty common choice for first or second governors for the Tughlaq. It provides a basically aura for any farms or houses built adjacent to it. That provides just some automatic food per minute. Starts at 12, increases up to 28 for every upgrade. But we do have this bit of an engagement happening here. A lot of workers trying to get some more of that stone so we can upgrade his fort. Unfortunately, there is a very large Ayyubid force on the map right now, and they are just not going to let him get anything out of this at the moment. Really, I would have liked to maybe see the fort either protecting, if you wanted more stone, maybe even protecting the stone. He's got a lot of workers kind of pushed way out of position at the moment, and he's actually trying to sneak these stone all the way up to the top. And we do actually have 2 of the sacred sites being captured by the Ayyubids. So these are going to be providing just a trickle of free gold per minute for the Ayyubids. And we can actually see he doesn't have. Well, yeah, actually, he has almost no. I don't think we have any workers on gold at the moment for Tughlaq, as these guys have just constantly been pushed around all over the map. And this is a huge force of Desert Raiders that are going to burn through. There's way more villagers than there needs to be for a single fort. So he does manage to, for the time being, protect himself. We do have our first upgrade coming out for the fort. So this is going to increase its health, its damage, arrow range, and on top of that, it's going to increase their the food aura, right? So he's actually going to be at 20 food per minute for each of these farms that are coming out. So nice little buff to his food income. Third and final sacred site getting captured right now by the Ayyubids. So Tughlaq is going to have to do something about that sometime soon, but it is a 10-minute timer, so it takes a little bit before it becomes a huge concern. That being said, there is still just very little military on the side of Tughlaq, and we are definitely going to start to need to see a change very soon. We do have quite a few military production buildings here at the back of his base. Unfortunately, there's at the moment very little military coming out from that, and houses are starting to go down. So Ayyubids are looking to supply cap the Tughlaq, which he successfully does. Currently fully supply blocked, 4 over the cap. He's, maybe wants to consider, I mean, he's building some houses up at the top side of his base. Well, I should say outside of his base, just near the Tughlaq fort, trying to keep himself from getting capped as really, I mean, the Ayyubids are just kind of toying. He's really just able to go wherever he wants at the moment. He's poking around with some spearmen and desert raiders on the south side of his base, a much larger force actually behind his base, but no villagers to speak of for him to kill. That being said, he will gladly take these production buildings. Barracks is very likely going to go down here, not before this spearman makes it out. I don't know if he'll make it out alive, though. And he will. Okay. Does manage to get away, but this barracks is burning, and if he doesn't bring some villagers over soon, it will be going down. And this secondary Ayyubid force is just slowly amassing a few lancers coming in to provide some major frontline support. Got a camel lancer lost in the woods over here by the river. No interest so far in the fish line here, but I think at this point that's not too surprising. So we do have some crossbowmen coming out trying to do what they can against this camel army, especially those lancers, but they're getting a couple picks off. Fort does manage to snipe one as they walk just slightly in range. These forts really are nothing to sneeze at here, and he's actually picking up the Curse of Aliyah, I believe it's pronounced. This is a fort that basically just makes him 30% harder to kill, right? Anything attacking the fort has a 30% attack speed reduction applied to them. So it just makes those forts last that much longer. And we have almost the full assortment of food that he's going to be able to realistically get from this. You can see he's actually getting 230 wood. Excuse me, 230 food, not wood. 238 from this, just the farms alone. Never mind the actual food that he's getting here. So, and we actually do see quite a bit of food income, around 1,100 food per minute, versus the 850 or so 900 of the Ayyubids. But here comes this force coming in, looking to cut off, potentially kill these woodline villagers. But we do finally have a large mass of Tughlaq units. Lots of crossbowmen with a bit of a front line of some spearmen, a couple men-at-arms, and some healer elephants to soak up some damage and provide some healing. Not a whole lot. Really, the Ayyubids have had pretty much free reign of this entire game when it comes to map control. Soaking up the berries up at the top side of the map on his side. And here comes, so we just have this Ayyubid raiding force really looking and trying to see if he can pick off some more of these villagers. Only gotten a total of 5 so far this game, so he really hasn't had too much of a lasting impact. But we do have a total of 3 town centers on the Ayyubid side, 76 workers to 54. This army mass, which we do see the Tughlaq has caught up in terms of army size, maybe not quite so much in army value, as desert raiders and desert lancers are a fairly expensive comp. But that being said, we do have a huge economy getting set up, and while Tughlaq was a few hundred food per minute ahead in income, we can see just the resources per minute across the board are just ballooning out of control right now. Almost 2,000, 1,800 food for the Ayyubids per minute. This is just a situation where this army right now, while it might be, it's still larger than Tughlaq's, but it's going to be exploding, ballooning in size here very, very quickly. And we have outposts coming down. Sacred Site Timer is just about halfway. He is going to have to decap this. It is not an option. Lancers coming in, picking off a few villagers. Managed to get one so far. There goes the second one. And these imams potentially going down, but the imam healing plus the Tughlaq fort are going to put in the work, and he only loses 2 villagers here. Not a bad trade at all. Sacred Site, unfortunately, for Tughlaq does get defended. He does not quite have the army size here to defend against this. And men-at-arms. Okay, yep. So a little bit surprised to see, well, he's only made a few men-at-arms, but I'm still a little bit surprised to see them in the army. I would have expected a bit more spearmen. We only have 14 at the moment, and this is an almost purely spearman army. But we'll see where Tughlaq decides to go. He's going to have to, he doesn't have a choice. He's going to have to go for one of these sacred sites and force a fight, force the decap. But at the moment, it's looking pretty rough. 2 siege workshops actually going down, hoping to maybe get out some mangonels and really just try to break this army down a little enough to decap. But at this point, we even have still a significant army, full infantry army here defending the sacred site, while the cavalry, all the camels, go and see if they can pick off some more villagers. So this is just a really rough situation at the moment for Tughlaq. Almost a 30, more than a 30 worker difference. Double the food income. Significantly more food. The only thing that right now Tughlaq is winning in right now is gold per minute, and unfortunately that may not be enough. 2 mangonels though might be getting off some hits on these desert raiders. Desert raiders turn around just in time. All right, so we are looking at not really a lot of camel lancers anymore at the moment. Only 2 left. And instead, he's just focusing pretty heavily on the desert raiders and switching to a bit more of a infantry comp, crossbowmen backed by a lot of spearmen to try to deal with this elephant front line, right? 4 Gila elephants. While they are by no means the war elephants, the tanks that war elephants are, they are still elephants and they can heal. So they provide a lot of value, not for multiple reasons for them, really. And some of these villagers are going to get picked off. I don't know if he's just not paying attention, but oh, I take it back. Healer elephants save the day. Stave off the damage, but we do have a couple of spearmen just kind of running into the Tughlaq's base, seeing if they can pick anything up. Desert raiders coming in for the real raid. They might be able to snipe off some of these villagers running to the fort for protection. And nope, instead they're going to stay in the base, see if they can pick anything up here. Just kind of ignoring the TC. Only 7 villagers garrisoned, so it's not a huge amount of damage. And yeah, I mean, this worker difference is just kind of ballooning out of control right now. 105 to 61. We're getting close to double the amount of workers on the side of the Ayyubids. 4 mangonels. Tughlaq is trying to set up a front line here, pushing out with these walls, and he does actually manage. Looks like he will be decapping this. Just kind of manages Ayyubids pull units off, pulls his entire army off the sacred sites. But I just don't know. This army down here on the south side of Tughlaq's base is definitely, they're picking off reinforcements, but at the end of the day, there's really not a whole lot for these desert raiders to do down here. There's virtually no villagers. His entire economy has moved to the north side of the map here. He's walled it off a little bit, enough to stop direct raids, but he's still going to have to contend with any sort of wraparounds. And, we still haven't seen Tughlaq at all moving across to the other side of the river. But as I say this, we have maybe the first true push by the Tughlaq side to really take down some of this damage. But they are going to be running straight into a keep. And mangonels, while very good, and with 5, he may very well be able to do some damage here. But it might be more trouble than it's worth. Instead, he decides to check out these resources exposed on the north side of the map, up the hill, and maybe decides against it. Oh, sees the army coming in. Still very cavalry heavy. His infantry line of spearmen and crossbowmen are hanging back a bit further, but he is going to have to do something about this, otherwise potentially losing some villagers. Not that it makes the hugest difference. 122 to 66 villagers. So Ayyubid can definitely afford to lose some villagers. It's not really going to affect their economy, all things considered. This is going to be a bit dangerous. We do have the Tughlaq army moving in all the way to the back of the base, and if they are not able to win, they're definitely going to lose that. And these mangonels might, they're getting cut out from behind, thankfully only from archers, the camel raider bows. So 1 raider does go down, and that many mangonels is definitely going to hurt, even if you are not infantry. Oh, here comes our big engagement. All right, spearmen coming in, stand for some sort of front line. Here elephants moving back to avoid those spearmen, and the mangonels are shredding through this back line. Lots of crossmen going to be focused down. Ooh, a couple raiders coming down. These 5 mangonels are just shredding through things. And, you know, Ayyubids may be regretting not maintaining that Camel Lancer army. But we do have incendiary arrows coming out for the raiders, and raiders switch to melee form, run forward, and take out 1 mangonel, looking to grab another few. But Gila Elephants, crossmen are able to move forward, but they're slowly going down one by one. Tughlaq fort actually goes down. He snuck some villagers in here. A whole lot of villagers. They're all very... Oh. Okay, well, it looks like that was the GG. I'm not exactly sure what happened there with the screen, but nevertheless, solid last desperation push by Tughlaq. But I think once he realized just quite how many villagers were on the side of the Ayyubids, there was very little you were going to be able to do at that point in the game. Over double the amount of workers, you just really don't have any hope left at that point. The longer the game goes on, the worse that difference is gonna be, especially with 3 TCs to 1. Yeah, great. Overall, great fun game. I love to see the Tughlaq experiments, see how people are playing this one of these newer civs, especially Tughlaqs with their forts and the focus the game the devs want you to have with these forts. Unfortunately, they are just also very expensive, even while being cheaper. It's a lot to commit to, but nevertheless, well played to both players. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Combat Clash. If you're itching for another round, take a look at some of our recent clashes just over to the left. And of course, if you'd like to see more of this and similar content, do be so kind as to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. So long, and I will see you tomorrow for another round of Combat Clash.